I'm back again to test out more vintage recipes for you. I'm cooking from the new Pillsbury Family Cookbook. This was originally published in 1973, and I'm so excited to cook from it because this cookbook has been on my wish list for quite a while. I finally got my hands on a copy. So you know I'm gonna have a lot of fun talking about this book and the recipes I'm trying a little bit later in the video. The recipes I chose today, I'm doing a full menu. It's gonna be kind of like a dinner menu, right? There's nothing wild and crazy about these recipes. I just wanted a nice little dinner, a nice little meal. So I'm going to make a casserole, I'm going to make a salad, and I'm gonna make a veggie side dish. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the main dish because it does need to bake for about an hour. My main dish, which is gonna be chicken and noodle casserole. This recipe kind of like continues up here. But don't worry, I will have it written in the description below the video. I put all of my recipes down there. So this is a very simple, very straightforward casserole recipe. I am starting by melting some butter in a pan. That's actually 2 tablespoons of butter. Can't see this butter melt quite as much. I've gotten a lot of feedback on the butter melts. Y'all seem to love them. I also want to let you know that I cooked my noodles ahead of time, just as directed on the package, in some boiling salted water. I cooked them till they were mostly done. You want them al dente. My butter has almost completely melted, so I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of flour. Blend that together and let it cook for just a minute or 2. Okay, this is nicely combined. Let it go for a couple minutes here. And I need to add 1 cup of chicken broth. I'm just using better than bouillon. I always keep a jar in my fridge. It's great if you know, don't have chicken broth or just need a little bit. Nothing against better than bouillon. I also have half a cup of half and half. It says milk or light cream. I went half and half. And a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And you can add that, you cannot add that. I'm adding it, it is in the recipe. Totally up to you and your salt needs. I am gonna up the heat on this. I need to stir this until it is thickened. Okay, it says to do the next step inside the casserole dish. I am less than confident that I will have enough space to mix the things together. I don't mind, like if I need space for something, rather than like trying to mix something in like a little casserole dish, I'm gonna do it in a bowl, and I know it makes more dishes. I'm the one who's washing them. So I'm doing it to myself and I'm okay with it. Got my sauce all done. I hope you recognize what was going on there. That was basically like what you would use in place of maybe a cream soup. I have nothing against canned cream of mushroom, cream of chicken, whatever. This is just the recipe that I'm trying. I think you could do either one and they would be fine and delicious. In a baking dish or a bowl, combine chicken, mushrooms, and noodles. So I did cook my noodles ahead of time. I started with 4 ounces of dry noodles. I have 2 ounces of canned mushrooms. Again, this is one that you can take or leave. I'm gonna do it, and I like mushrooms. I don't even mind canned mushrooms, really. I grew up eating them. I like fresh mushrooms a lot, though. And this is my cooked chicken. This is 2 cups of shredded. It says cubed in here. I prefer it shredded, but this is 2 cups of shredded rotisserie chicken. I like having just like some cooked chicken in my freezer and stuff. Rotisserie chicken is very nice if you can get it because it's already seasoned. It's usually nicely seasoned and tastes pretty good. Yeah, see, I don't think I would have had room to like comfortably mix this. That's just me. The next step is controversial. Well, it's something I normally wouldn't do it this way. I think the sauce should go in here and I think you should mix it and put it in the casserole dish. That is what I would do if I weren't testing this recipe for the first time. Sometimes I do like to follow, you know, some of the processes in these recipes just to see if maybe there's a reason they did it a certain way. Sometimes I find that, yeah, there is a reason they do it that way that I kind of disagree with and it makes sense. Other times I'm like, you know, I can safely go back to the way that I would normally do it. I've got my little casserole dish here. I think this is a 1.5 quart because I'm cutting the recipe in half, if I didn't already say. So I need to put this in here. Woo! Yeah, there's no way I would have been able to mix this without getting it all over. This bowl is butterfly gold and my casserole dish is horizon blue. Those are the patterns, the Pyrex patterns. Oh, that's a perfect fit. So now I need to pour the sauce over the top. We're gonna do it. I just want to try it this way. I have a feeling that I could really mix this to combine and it would be even better. But it does, you know, the sauce is kind of sinking in. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. This is just an experiment. We're just trying something. Spread this out, make sure the top of this gets covered. This smells so good. I know it's very easy, very simple. I love a chicken casserole. Like a chicken and noodle, super comforting dish. What is next? Sprinkle with buttered bread cubes. So I've got my bread cubes. I got my butter. It's back here. It's back here. Just gonna use the same spoon. It's fine. It's fine. Buttered bread cubes, buttered bread crumbs. I like putting something on the top of a casserole that is gonna give it a lovely, crunchy, delicious top. Now, there is one ingredient that I'm so sorry that I'm missing. I thought I had Parmesan cheese, and I don't. Oh, how could I? I know, I'm so sorry. So I know this is not the cheese that we're looking for. I'm just gonna sprinkle this with a little bit of shredded mozz because it's in my fridge. Needs to be used. But I know that Parm would have been really good, and like it's got a nice saltiness to it. Subbing this in just for now. I'm so sorry. Oh, I know, I'm just joking. Okay, just a little bit, just a little bit. I want the bread cubes on top of this because I want them to get nice and toasty. I think the butter's like sufficiently covered those. I am gonna sprinkle them a little bit. I'm gonna kind of place them since they are cubes and not crumbs. This was just like a little bit of leftover bread from a baguette that I had. This is a great use of something like this. Use it to put on top of a casserole or a vegetable, like a baked vegetable dish, potatoes au gratin, something like that. Yes, I am in love. Okay. I know this is gonna be good. 1 second, my hands are buttery. Well, now this needs to bake in a 350-degree oven for about an hour. I'm gonna keep an eye on it and just kind of see how it does. While my casserole is in the oven, I'm gonna go ahead and start on my salad. I chose these cucumbers in sour cream. In the summer, I usually like to add a cucumber to my grocery list, and I'll make pickles or I'll make a cucumber salad, whether it's like a vinegar-based one or one of these, it's like sour cream-based. I'm going with these little tiny Persian cucumbers. You need to start by, you know, slicing these up in a bowl, and it says to sprinkle them with salt and wait 20 minutes and then drain them. That's just to give off some, like have them give off some of their liquid. So that's exactly what I did. I sprinkled these with salt, waited for 20 minutes. There wasn't a ton that came off of them, but I just love these little tiny pickles. I think they're so cute. For one thing, they're cute, but they're also so crisp and delicious. Yeah, they make great pickles. I've made similar cucumber salads to this one, and I just thought I would, you know, try this particular recipe. Why not? So I've got my cucumbers, gonna set them aside. I'm gonna make the dressing. I like to make the dressing separately. That's just me. You could try to mix it all in there. I just think it kind of combines a little bit better if you mix it separately and then add it to your cucumbers. Making the full recipe here, so I need half a cup of sour cream. It says you can also use plain yogurt. To that, I'm adding half a teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of vinegar, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and it just says pepper, a little bit of pepper. I'm gonna whisk that with my tiny whisk to make the dressing. Sometimes I use rice vinegar. I really like rice vinegar in cucumber salads. I just used apple cider vinegar in this one. Sometimes I add dill. That's always a very nice addition. Or onions, like green onions are good. But we're keeping it very simple today, and we're just gonna follow this recipe and see what shakes out. If you're interested in refrigerator pickles, like the ones that I make, I did make a video about it maybe a couple years ago now, but I'll link it in the description down below. I just think it's so nice to keep some kind of like cucumber salad or something in the fridge in the summer, especially just to have like a super easy, like cold side dish. Simple enough. We're just gonna add the dressing, stir it up a bit. See, this is why I go for a bigger bowl usually. It's okay. So this is a great make ahead thing, right? This would probably go over well to take to something as well if you're still doing some cookouts or some picnics. I'm just gonna cover this and put it in the fridge until my casserole is done baking. Casserole's in the oven, the cucumber salad's in the fridge, so now I'm gonna get to work on these lemon buttered carrots. This recipe starts with 1.5 tablespoons of butter. Oh, there she goes. And to that, I am going to add 3 carrots that I've peeled and sliced. I'm cutting the recipe in half. But if you want a whole recipe, it's written in the description down below. All the recipes will be down there. It says medium to high heat. I need to cover this and let it cook for about 10 minutes. All right, my carrots and butter have been cooking away for about 10 minutes. I did just pierce these with a fork too, so they're like a little tender crisp. And I need to add half of a sliced apple. Get that sort of separated. And I'm just gonna cover this back up, let it cook 5 more minutes. This recipe could not be easier. All right, 5 minutes. This is what we got. I am gonna turn the heat off. Now I need to add a little bit of lemon juice and some parsley. I don't have fresh parsley, so I'm using dried. Pinch of salt. Mix it all together. I'm just gonna keep this warm on the stove because I only have a few minutes left on my casserole. Casserole is all done. Just look how brown and delicious that got. Oh man, I did pull it maybe 10 minutes early. It seemed like it was getting very brown on top. Also, my casserole, it's a half recipe, so it's a little smaller. I am very excited, and all that's left to do is make myself a plate. Yes, this is my lunch. I'm very hungry, so I'm really ready to give this a try. Let's go ahead and start with the cucumber salad. I love cucumber salad. So these little cucumbers, so crisp and cool and delicious, very refreshing. And then the dressing, creamy, but also tart and a little sweet from the vinegar and the sugar. Just delicious, like such a good combination of flavors. And like I said, very cool and refreshing. Okay, let's go for the carrots. So I'm gonna get a little apple and a carrot. I really like carrots anyway. The apples offer just kind of like a mild sweetness alongside the carrots. Really kind of supports the sweetness from the carrots themselves. And then you have like a little bit of, you know, of course, your buttery, salty, lemony kind of sauce or glaze on there. Very good without being super overpowering. That brings us to the chicken noodle casserole. This smelled incredible baking. So it reminds me of, you know, on a cooler day, maybe coming home from school or practice or something like that, and you smell that warm kind of like baked what's for dinner kind of smell. That's what this smells like. It looks great too. It really does look good. Let me try to get a little bite of everything. I gotta get a bread cube. Those toasty bread cubes look great. It's very simple, but it tastes exactly how you want it to taste, you know? It's a very basic chicken noodle casserole that you could add things to if you wanted to, but I don't really think you have to either. It's good as is. Well, I'm pretty excited that I get to eat all this for lunch, so I'll be back later to talk about the book and give you some final thoughts on the recipes. The new Pillsbury Family Cookbook was originally published in 1973. I have the 1975 edition, which has a very special added chapter, and that is microwave cooking. Microwaves were very big at this time, so of course they wanted to stay up with the trends and add that section to this book. Now, I said at the top of this video that this has been on my wish list for quite some time. I don't think I'd ever really seen a copy of this in person that like I could put my hands on ever before I found this one. I believe I got this in Holland, Michigan a little bit earlier this summer. I don't know. There's just something about this sunny yellow cover. The combination of these colors, the swoopiness of the letters, and then check out this back cover as well. Let's get in there and look. It's the Pillsbury Doughboy. And again, with the swoopy letters and the colors against the yellow. I just love it. I just love it. It's also a binder style cookbook, which you know I'm a big fan of. It has the tabs so that you can easily find different sections. Makes it easy to find things that you're looking for. And this is what I would call a comprehensive cookbook or a catch-all cookbook. It's one of those types of books that has a simple recipe for just about everything you're looking for. It just makes a great gift for someone who is learning to cook, who is moving out on their own for whatever reason, you know, or they're getting married for whatever, you know, reason that you would have where you want to have at your fingertips a basic recipe for almost everything. They didn't have, back in this time, you couldn't just look up a recipe online. So I feel, of course I feel this way, that these types of cookbooks still have value in my life. I feel that most people should have one of these, you know, it doesn't have to be this one, but they should have one of these types of cookbooks on their bookshelf. We have a lot of good recipes in here, but a lot of good photographs as well. And I did mark a few of those to show you. This copy is also in pretty excellent condition. I was super happy to find it. You may know that I like to find cookbooks out in the wild. If I'm looking for something, I don't necessarily head to eBay or Etsy and buy it right away. I just like to hunt for them, I guess. Oh yes, okay, I have to show you this. It looks so incredibly tempting. This is like a caramel nut roll. Yeah, I had to share that with you. These two, so these are, let's get you in there. Those are muffin recipes. And the special thing about these muffin recipes, they use Pillsbury muffin mix. So one of them for spicy muffins, I just like the name of that, begins with Pillsbury apple cinnamon coffee cake mix. I do run into that. I have talked about it. Sometimes these recipes, they use like a product or a mix of some kind that's no longer available. So then you kind of have to sub in or figure out like, what do I do instead? This other muffin recipe is for Tropicana muffins, and that one starts with Pillsbury blueberry coffee cake mix. Again, I just don't think they have that anymore. Maybe you could find something similar under a different brand name. This is just beautiful to me. These strawberry waffles, look how good those look. Strawberry season in Ohio is long over. But these still look very pretty and tempting. You know, we are kind of heading toward fall, whether you like to admit it or not. I like this photo with all of the apples for this apple cake. Oh, it looks lovely. Johnny Appleseed cake is what that is called. And you know, it doesn't look too hard to make. I think this fall I need to make that. A speedy saucepan applesauce cake that needs no egg. Oh, there's no egg because there's so much applesauce in it. That is smart. And it makes a 9-inch square pan. This is getting better and better. That's a small cake, and that's what I like to make. This is the desserts, sauces, and pies chapter of the book, and we have a dessert fondue. I had to point out the fondue pot. In this year, 1975, fondue was just going strong. I do have 3, maybe 4 fondue sets in my basement right now. Is that too many? That might be too many. I tell you what, if I find a new fondue set out in the, you know, my travels and I need it, it's going to be a 1 in, 1 out policy on fondue pots in my house. Bunch of bananas dessert squares. Is there a photo for that? It sounds very good, but it starts again with like a yellow cake mix. I don't know, that sounds very interesting. Yellow cake mix, vanilla frosting mix. That's probably why I marked this. I don't think you can get the Pillsbury vanilla frosting mix. The only frosting mix that I am aware of right now that is like out in the stores, sometimes it's hard to find even, is the Betty Crocker fluffy white frosting mix. I don't think Pillsbury does the frosting mixes anymore. You know, that's another time that you'd run into something like that. I spent a lot of time in like the dessert sweets kinds of sections of this book, but I did have to show you this basic meatloaf baked in a ring mold served with sauce made from mushroom soup. Hold on to your hats. There she is. We did love a ring. We did love serving things in like ring shapes, ring molds. I don't remember, a few videos ago I talked about that, where everything was a rice ring or a noodle ring or whatever. I get it, you want to serve things attractively. I don't know, I think I'd just go for a loaf. Go for a loaf, put the sauce on top, put those vegetables on the side, I'm good to go. Oh, this had a note too. I like finding little tiny notes written in my cookbooks. Let's see what they had to say. Oh, okay, so this is a recipe for stuffed green peppers. There's no photo, unfortunately, but the note that this person made was use ragu, Italian cooking sauce, over the stuffed peppers. So make a note, use ragu. The owner of this cookbook, the previous owner of this cookbook, had something to say about it. Chuck wagon roundup. That looks interesting. Yeah, what a creative use of hot dogs. Okay, so it's like smoky link sausage, barbecue beans. It's like a pie. It's like a bean and weenie pie. I don't hate it. I'm not mad about it. I'd try it. This photograph looked pretty tempting to me. It's the soups, sandwiches, and sauces chapter. It's like a ham and bean soup that looks pretty good. And then a nice sandwich. Looks inviting. Oh, that pickle looks good too. And this was especially pretty. This reminds me of something that you would find in one of the Bake Off cookbooks. And I'm actually wondering if they maybe pulled this from one of the Bake Off competitions. It's the ham and cheese wheels. Those look good. How pretty. Crescent roll dough with ham, cheese, It looks like they sprinkled some poppy seeds on top. Something that's different about this Pillsbury cookbook versus some of the other ones that I have that are like the big Pillsbury books, this doesn't have a specific section just for bake-off recipes. So interesting to me because I think I have like two, they're behind me, two maybe big cookbooks from Pillsbury, 2 or 3, and they have like the bake-off section. I think to me it just feels like they pulled the bake-off recipes into the other chapters. There's also a couple of little bonus items that were tucked in the pages of this cookbook. I always like to find little surprises like this. This is the microware instructions and recipes for microwave and conventional ovens from Anchor Hocking. So microware, oh, it's like cooking vessels for the microwave. I think, do you see this bacon pan? I think that we had that growing up. We were, when I was a kid, it was like cook the bacon in the microwave. That was a big thing. I usually do it in the oven now, but that bacon pan looks so familiar to me. Yes. Oh my gosh. You have to see how this stores. Wow. Look, I know this isn't the Pillsbury cookbook, but I still think it's kind of interesting. All of those pieces of equipment stack within one another. Okay. Lots of microwave recipes. I'll make sure to tuck that back in. And then this was someone's school worksheet. This person's name is Matt. And this is the type of school worksheet, like I almost feel like I had something very similar. So I'm guessing Matt is probably about the same age as I am. That's just my my thought. But he did good. He did okay good. And then he also got a star. So good job, Matt. That was tucked in here too. How cute is that? I was pretty pleased with all of the recipes I made today. I was really just feeling like making a full dinner menu, just kind of comfort food, easy breezy stuff. And I started with a chicken and noodle casserole. This was very basic, but it was also very delicious. Sometimes that's what you want, okay? You just want your chicken and noodle casserole, no frills, no bells and whistles. That's what this was, but it did taste very good for as simple as it was. I also, I was thinking about this, what a great thing to take to someone, right? I actually did end up taking part of this to my parents' house. I was visiting them the day after I filmed the cooking portion of this video, and I had some left still. So a day or two after I came back from their house, I reheated it in the microwave, and it reheated super well. It still tasted very good. It still tasted just the way I wanted it to, and the texture was still pretty good as well, so that was nice. I thought it was really delicious as is, but you could also customize this easily. You could add other seasonings if you wanted to. You could add vegetables. My mind always goes to peas. I think something like this is just excellent with frozen peas in there. Frozen peas are probably my favorite frozen vegetable to keep on hand. And the one thing I would change, you maybe know what's coming, I would mix in the sauce. The sauce did sink in fairly well. I followed the instructions given in the recipe for pouring the sauce on top. And it did sink in fairly well in certain spots, but there were sort of toward the corners and the bottom, some dry spots. So I don't think it would hurt to mix most or all of the sauce in with the noodles. If you didn't want to do all of it, if you still wanted some on top, I would say go, I don't know, 70% of the sauce mixed in and then the rest of it on top, something like that. Really loved the bread cubes. I always love some sort of crispy, crunchy topping on a casserole. This was just perfect. My second recipe was cucumbers in sour cream. I already knew that I would like this. I like cucumber salads, especially the sour cream variety. Sometimes I make other ones with just vinegar based or pickles. I always like to have a little something like this in the refrigerator as a side dish just to add to my lunch or dinner, just really quick. Something you can make ahead of time that's just kind of waiting there for you, right? The dressing really did have such a nice flavor. It was pretty much made up of stuff I would have had on hand. I do keep sour cream in the refrigerator most of the time. You could also use plain yogurt instead if you didn't want sour cream. But then the seasonings and the vinegar, that's all pantry stuff for me. So this was really easy to put together. And I do think another thing that could go over well if you want to take it somewhere, because you make it all ahead of time. I think it only gets better as it sits in the fridge. And the little cucumbers I used in there, perfect. So crisp and cool, crunchy, delightful. And finally, the lemon buttered carrots. And the title of the recipe pretty much says it all. These were buttery. They had a little drop of lemon juice in them for some added tartness, but then the sweetness of the carrots and the apples. It was just all around. It was a very well-rounded flavor. And a really great way, easy way to prepare carrots. You don't have to boil anything. They get perfectly cooked. They were not absolute mush, which I liked. They were tender, but they were not mushy. Also, carrots last for quite some time in your refrigerator too. That's one of the vegetables that I try to keep on hand. If they are properly stored, you can keep for a long time. So it's like if you see a sale, grab them. Or it's just a nice thing, you know, it's just a nice thing to keep on hand when you need a side dish or you need something like that. And this is a great way to prepare them. So have you cooked from the new Pillsbury Family Cookbook? I'd love to hear about it, so please leave me a comment. I'd like to say a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. If you'd like to join us over there, I'll have a link in the description so that you can do that. Don't forget to look out for each other and take care of each other, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.